Oh, that's an unusual fighting style.
Fable II to me is exactly what crack cocaine is to the raving junkie living in my walls. He keeps stealing my peanut butter for nefarious purposes. Please send help. This game has been one of my all-time favorites ever since I was but a young lad with barely a whisper of hair upon my smooth, chiseled and Adonic face. Fable is chock full of charisma and vibes, and sharing that with you guys today is my #1 priority. The whimsical world of Albion was created by Lionhead Studios after they made a deal with dark and ruinous powers beyond mortal comprehension. The result of this unholy union? A fantastic place to explore and a rock-solid, memorable experience to be had. In the world of Albion, humans are the dominant life forms on the planet. They've built cities and castles and vast networks of roads and outposts. Yes, the setting is fantasy, but there are no elves, dwarves, or Samuel L. Jackson to be found here. However, a varied cast of creatures display more rudimentary levels of smarts and use their brain power to get up to heaps of mischief. Case in point, the Hobbes. These horribly twisted little runts enjoy wearing their pants on backwards and using old boots for hats. They're a quirky bunch that have somehow discovered how to use both magic and firearms through sheer willpower and immense amounts of trial and error. This in turn makes them a significant threat to any travelers as they hop out of their hidey holes and proceed to shove their spears up your ass. Other monsters and bandits patrol the roads and wildernesses too, meaning that you're never too far from a solid moment of fun combat. As you slay your enemies in increasingly spectacular fashions, they drop experience orbs that you can suck up like Kool-Aid and use to improve your various skills and capabilities. The world of Albion finds itself in the early industrial age during your time in the game, and is reminiscent of England's own industrial revolution. There's tons of folks walking around with whimsical moustaches, grandois top hats, and extravagant dresses. This is, of course, in the more built-up towns. In the smaller settlements off the beaten path, you'd be lucky if they chose to wear pants on that day at all. Towns often have many different and interesting tasks and things to do to keep you occupied. Jobs are a fun way to make gold, which you can invest in homes, shops, and other opportunities. You'll get rent from your tenants and customers passively and can set it as astronomically high or even as low as you'd like. As we all know, landlords are both generous and gregarious individuals. Other possibilities could include getting blackout drunk with the local villagers, proceeding to shit your pants and then have hot and steamy relations with the innkeeper's wife, in that particular order. You could get a tattoo of a hot dog going through a donut and come to regret your decision later on in life. Buy some new threads to make yourself look as regal as a king or as destitute as a rock grub. Interacting with the denizens of the world is a rather fun affair. You can learn a whole bunch of interesting emotes in order to terrify, entertain, or just be a general knobhead. You see, during the prologue of the game, your character gets launched out of a 10th-story window and proceeds to hit their head on pretty much every single roof before landing on the soft and comfortable concrete down below. As a result, you do not speak and instead rely on your acting talents to get the point across. All the emotes that you can do can be held to extend the duration and increase their effectiveness should you get them right. Fail, however, and the results are often far from optimal. You just tried farting with great gusto. Well, you've also just browned your undies. Try to belly laugh to your heart's content. You've just choked on your own tongue. Smooth moves, pal. The villagers react to everything you do, and it can be loads of fun just messing around with them and seeing what happens. Combat is simple but engaging. You can choose between melee, ranged, and magic. There are usually many different types of weapons within a given tree, from crossbows and revolving rifles to great axes and cutlasses. Magic has a solid bunch of different effects as well, and as you level them up, the radius and strength of the magic increases. By late game, you'll be creating small nuclear explosions all around you as you watch your enemies pull a Sarakana from Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Certain skills unlock new ways to dispatch your enemies with style. Melee gains access to flourishes, which see you elaborately twirl your weapon before pounding an enemy into the next dimension. It shatters through defenses and often sends smaller enemies flying into the air. Range skills eventually allow you to sub-target locations on your enemy, meaning that if you wanted to break the Geneva Convention, you could shoot all the weapons out of a bandit's hands, and once he's surrendered, show him the error of his ways by unloading a blunderbuss into his testicles. That'll be sure to teach him. The story is rather simple, but engaging enough. I never had any qualms about it really. Yes, some things could have been improved, and a certain endgame section made a bit more impactful, but I think they managed to cobble together something that's definitely worth a play. The quests you accomplish as you progress actually cause repercussions throughout the world. A town can get completely laid to waste. You can be the reason a crusty little backwater turns into a booming economic hub, or you could establish a thriving farming community where there once was untamed wilderness. You could also pay to commission statues at plinths you find around the world and look back at younger, greener versions of yourself as the years pass. The immersion in Fable II is utterly fantastic, and I always felt like my choices and decisions mattered, not just to Albion as a whole, but to the people living there as well. One of the most interesting systems in the game, and a very Lionhead Studios speciality, is the sheer depth of the morality system. Every choice you make, from the type of pie you want to eat to how many townsfolk you had an orgy with, dictate your moral fiber and standing. You get two gauges, purity and corruption, and good and evil. You can be a mix of anything, and your character's appearance changes accordingly. Decide to go on a prostitution binge for a week straight, eat nothing but crunchy chicks, and robbing to your heart's content, you're going to look pretty corpulent. Think flies, black teeth, and sickly green eyes, perhaps even some horns sprouting from the top of your head. Now on the flip side of that coin, if you spent that time eating crunchy celery, giving alms to the poor, and playing the lute to see the children laugh and smile, you'll notice a faint halo, stark blue eyes, and glowing white teeth start to form. You really want to know the benefits of being of the highest moral caliber? They've got a good dental program. It really feels so satisfying seeing your character become a walking testament to your playstyle and who you want to be. The sound design in this game is lovely, with satisfying clicks and booms from your flintlock rifles to the deadly and razor-sharp swish of your cleaver hurtling towards an unfortunate enemy. Magical effects sound punchy, and your enemies scream in terror as they get force-pushed off the side of cliffs. Monsters howl and sprout gibberish maniacally and sound convincingly dangerous. Belverines in particular are still terrifying to this day, and as a result, I tend to unload a comfortable magazine of bullets into them from a safe kilometer away. The music is top tier, from whimsical little ditties which make you feel like you're on the way to the marketplace with a fat purse of coins in your pockets, to the more serene and tranquil. I fucking love the Bower Lake soundtrack, and sometimes I just stand there for a bit and listen. Watching the sun slowly creep up over the distant hills and the light bounce off the water. Something about that song fuels my nostalgia, and that's one hell of a drug. In the end, these have been my thoughts and opinions on Fable II, a solid role-playing game from the late 2000s. It drips with charisma, value, and fun, and I thoroughly enjoyed my time with it again. If you're interested in giving it a play, it's been on Game Pass forever, and has a very small download size by today's standards. If you haven't played it yet, then definitely give it a try. And if you have, but it's been yonks since last, perhaps it's time to boot it up and give it a whirl again. As always, thank you so much for listening, and I appreciate you all. Go well, and have a great day further.